Good morning. It's Emma Gibbons. Welcome to Yellow Shelf.
Thank you for having me. Yay.
Yay, your book, it's out now. It's available now. Autonomy of a Conversation.
Oh,
Congratulations.
anatomy.
Anatomy, I beg your pardon. Oh my gosh.
Autonomy of a
Wait,
conversation's a new, maybe that's book
it is.
two.
Let me start again. Let me start again. I don't have a copy of the book in front of me. So tell us all about it. Yay. What do we need to know?
Yeah, so I believe that conversations change the world, and that we can't fix what we can't talk about. And everybody goes through life, thinking that they communicate well, right? We talk all the time and probably on too many platforms, if anything. There's a bit of overwhelm. But in our communication, we sort of undervalue it, we underrate it, and we don't bring the intention or preparation to our conversations that we could. And people often sort of stop having conversations because they're either afraid, they're avoidant, or they're a bit anxious about it, right? And so those emotions make us kind of wall up and hold back when actually we need to lean in. Because if there is an issue, if there is a boundary, a preference, something we want to change, we got to talk about it. Right. So my book, Anatomy of Conversation, covers off two pieces of conversation uh, essence, lore, learning, whatever, it's both the how to do. So that's why the anatomy, the structure of a conversation. And my model is 5 stages. A conversation includes open, ask, listen, respond, and close. So that's really like the analytical
Mm.
side of the conversation. And then throughout the book as well, there's a secondary model, Glow, which is about how to be, how to facilitate that conversation. What energy do you have to bring as the facilitator to create that safe and open space? And Glow is about bringing generosity, love, openness, and wonder. So throughout the book, I sort of tackle these left brain, right brain, analytical, emotional, two sides of the conversation so that when you step out of reading the book, you feel more equipped to handle those tricky conversations.
Yeah, and it's definitely about human interaction and the power of
Mm.
conversation, isn't it? Um, Emma, tell us about what inspired you to write this. Tell us anything about your career and your journey
Mm.
that would help us connect with you as the author.
Yeah, so different to people in my field or people who also talk about communication, my background is in political campaigning.
Mm.
So, and particularly community organizing. So, I started in 2008 working to elect Barack Obama, and that work ended up bringing me around the world because I was driven by this question of like, do people connect in the same way across cultures? And the short answer is yes. And conversations is that common denominator, that moment where we come together, we find common ground, we establish connection, and then we step forward together. And so, background of political campaigning means I have a really different nuance and spin when I talk about communication. Sometimes it's a bit more poetic or persuasive, but also grounded in really strong human values and human truths because I've seen it. I've had 10,000 awkward conversations with people of all stripes and all kinds of environments and all different issues. And most recently, actually, in Australia for the last 5 years, I've been hosting conversations around reconciliation. So, how do Indigenous and non Indigenous people work together and find a shared culture? And those were such rich conversations because they're quite heated perhaps or they're quite intense. We cover topics like race, privilege, guilt, shame, and so that's been such a rewarding chapter of my conversation history learning, I suppose, to dive into. So holding those complex spaces, building that container to make it safe to talk about things that we are afraid or again avoiding, that's what I love doing, and that's what I want everyone to do more of.
Yeah, fascinating. Emma, how did you get to Australia? Am I allowed to ask you that? Is
Yeah,
that,
sure.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm a newly minted Australian citizen, so I'm very proudly happy to tell you all about it. No, 10 years ago, I came to Australia in 2016 to elect Mark McGowan,
Oh,
former
okay.
Premier of Western Australia. And then later that year, I ran the marriage equality campaign in WA.
Oh,
So, but since landing in Perth, I fell in love with Perth. So I am now
yeah.
officially a Perthian. You can't kick me out. I'm here forever. I'm very happy to be in Perth, but I also love traveling and flying everywhere you've done a lot of work across Australia, internationally. So yeah, I love Perth as home base and love seeing the world from here.
Yeah, beautiful. Well, Emma, thanks so much for joining us. I will put in some links to your
Mm.
website, LinkedIn, Instagram. I know the book's available on your website. Just point us in the direction. If we're curious and we're watching anywhere around the world and we want the book,
Mm.
how best do we connect with you and the book?
Yeah, so if you want to grab the book off my website, is pretty straightforward. I also have an Amazon link for US purchasers, which I think has a Kindle version. If you're outside of those regions and you want the book, just holler, email me. We'll find a way. Sometimes shipping costs are a bit funny. Heck, and at the worst, I'll just send you a PDF of it because I just want this out there.
Yeah.
One other note about the book that I love is it's a field guide. So that means that like down the side, there's all the different stages of the conversation. So like my dream and what this was designed to be like is actually the prototype was around the Alcoholics Anonymous book. This sort of this precious tome that you read, you mark up, you hand to your friend, they highlight it, they dog ear their piece, and it's this like beloved resource that's continued to be revisited. So yeah, very keen to get more of these resources out in the world.
Well, if we've helped in any way, I'll put in the show notes how to connect with you in the book. Emma, congratulations. Can I ask just last sneaky question? Would you
Please.
write again? Was that a process that you loved?
Oh, absolutely. So this is my second book. And
Oh,
yeah, I'm already sort of cooking up what the next book is. For me, and there were actually two versions of books before this one. So there's sort of, yeah, I'm always cooking and creating and writing. I have a Substack if you want to follow along with my
oh,
writing there. The next book, I don't, there's a couple of different threads I'm
watch
pursuing
this
to see what
space.
emerges next. Yeah.
Okay. Well, what I'll do, I'll put your Substack link in as well, and I'm sure when the next book eventuates, people can find what that's all about. Emma, thank you
Mm,
so much for joining us.
thanks. Bye.
Cheers.